splash white to that deck and still call it that.
Okay.
But
okay.
I guess he wanted to play Stoneforge Mystic and Jace the last time they were legal.
Yeah, why not?
Who can blame him?
Right, I can't, for certain. So.
Now this list of mono red, it looks very similar to what Patrick Sullivan has been recommending as of late.
Right.
He has the Kiln Fiends. Kiln Fiend lets you kill people a lot faster than you were ever able to prior to this. The deck only plays 20 lands. It looks like a Tempest block red deck. You know, you're playing 12 creatures that cost 1 mana, 8 creatures that cost 2 mana, and 20 burn spells.
Yeah.
That's your deck.
I love this. I love this. This is consistency at its finest, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, at its purest. So, there you see Ray with the mono red deck on the right, and Matt with the Bant Blade, I guess, version on the left.
Matt is a Connecticut native. If you play in events in that area, you probably fear playing against him. Always at the top tables and the PDQs up there.
And he leads with the Birds of Paradise.
It's about as good of a start as you can get. Now it's really nice against, it's really nice in Matt's deck is that it seems like he actually has an extra copy of Stoneforge. If his opponent goes turn 2 Stoneforge here, he can just tap 3 mana, play Metamorph, and Stoneforge himself.
But Ray is not going to turn 2 Stoneforge now with a Mountain into Furnace Scamp. It's very unlikely.
Yeah, Matt's got to be a little scared now.
So, Lotus Cobra for Matt, Seachrome Coast, and the turn 2 Stoneforge Mystic for Matt. So
that's a board for Matt.
That is quite a board, yeah. Furnace Scamp.
Ray could potentially blow Matt out of this game with a Forked Bolt, though.
Oh, yeah.
So,
and he does have 4 copies in the main deck.
But it's true that his number one priority right now, before he does any of that, is to deal with the Stoneforge Mystic. But he has to actually deal with the Stoneforge Mystic and the Cobra this turn. Otherwise, that Batterskull is going to be on the table next turn.
Wow,
he has to deal with both.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he has to have
and the Fork Bolt would be great.
Burn spells. And Fork Bolt wouldn't even be good enough. Like an Arch Trail would be, but he's not playing that in the main deck. Huh. This is a rough spot for Ray.
Yeah,
that's an opening.
Yeah, not only
side.
the turn 2 Stoneforge Mystic, but also the turn 2 Lotus Cobra. That's, that's some of the. Obviously the scariest turn 2 play you can see, and one of the other scariest turn 2 creatures you can see. But he just has Teetering Peaks for his Furnace Scamp.
Yeah, so the Scamp's going to get in there for... he's probably going to sacrifice it now.
Right.
So it's going to get in there for a good amount of damage.
Yeah,
but
basically offering to trade it for one of 2 much better creatures right now. And
Matt will not bite.
Yeah, Matt doesn't want that, so... That was 6 damage just from a Furnace Scamp and a Teetering Peaks, and a Spike Shot Elder added to the side of the board, or to Ray's side of the board. So, unfortunately, looks like Batterskull is likely to hit the board.
Yeah, Batterskull's coming down this turn, and that's going to make this game very, very difficult for Ray.
Does he have anything main deck to deal with it? He does not.
He has Dismembers.
Yeah, but that just deals with the germ, you know?
Yeah, then with the Cobra and the Bird, he can constantly bounce it back to his hand. Just replay it.
If not, just equip it, you know? So, Matt adds a Fauna Shaman to the board, swings in with a Lotus Cobra, and trades for Ray's Spike Shot Elder.
I like that trade.
Yeah.
I think it's good to offer the Cobra there because you almost definitely know you're going to get it. If I'm Ray, I think I take the damage because there's no reason for him to attack unless he thinks I'm going to block.
Yeah.
if I want that Lotus Cobra, I'm not going to attack with it, basically.
So Arid Mesa from Ray immediately goes to the graveyard, and I guess that means Ray has some sort of 3-mana play here.
And now he's probably going to Stagger Shock the Fauna Shaman if he played the untap land this turn. And it puts him in a pretty bad spot. Matt will bounce back up to 17 on his turn with that Batter Skull.
Yeah, so here comes the Batter Skull, and in response, Ray has the Stagger Shock for a Fauna Shaman on Matt's side of the board. Yeah, I didn't think he wanted to give Matt the opportunity to activate that Shaman.
And for a lot of other cards, you wait for players' upkeeps, but a card like Fauna Shaman, you do not want to let it use its activated ability.
Yeah.
So Ray's going to drop to 15 here. Matt's going to jump back up to 17. Now Matt can lean on this Batter Skull pretty hard, so there's not much that Ray can do about it.
So the Stagger Shock rebounds into the Stoneforge Mystic. Seems about right. So the Stoneforge Mystic goes away.
Yeah, now, the bird has done so much work this game.
Ember Hauler Kiln Fiend from Ray. Yeah, the bird's really, really making an impact, actually. Strangely, it's just a Birds of Paradise, but it's still worth that, I mean, I still think it's worth the turn 1 burn spell. Turn 1 removal spell for the birds. So there's Dismember for the Ember Hauler, while Ray can't take advantage of that, that additional
and Matt's
ability.
going to drop down to 15. The Birds of Paradise tap for black mana, so
that's right.
you didn't
yeah.
have to pay
Didn't
all
have to
the
pay
life
extra
for
life.
it there.
Very good against a mono red deck.
Yeah, Dismember, not the best removal spell against the mono red decks when you're not playing black.
Yeah.
But giving them a free spell and a half.
Yeah, pretty much. So Matt does have a second Lotus Cobra, which he adds to the board before passing back to Ray.
And that Cobra's good. Forces Ray to have a removal spell for it if Ray wants to attack with the Kiln Fiend. Ray's just in such a deep hole here, though.
Yeah, it's odd. Like, I really wonder what these like these kind of very aggressive decks. Like, what is their plan against Batter Skull? I mean, I don't know. I'm not typically very aggressive. I don't play very aggressive decks typically. So, and seeing Batter Skull, I wouldn't. You know, it's another reason why I wouldn't. You know, so it
makes the game very hard for aggressive decks.
I mean, and it's like, well, if you have the answer for Batter Skull, then fine. Yeah, okay, I can understand. But I'm like looking. The best he can do is burn a Germ. That's not really dealing with Batter Skull. I mean, he can win before it hits play, but when Stoneforge Mystic is in the format, that's a really, you're putting yourself under a lot of pressure to win really quickly. So he does have an answer for the Lotus Cobra in the form of a Spike Shot Elder. But again, no answer for the Batter Skull, so.
He's going to crack right down to 7 and pop back up to 23 himself. He has 1 card left in hand. I believe it's a Birds of Paradise. He's probably just going to pass the turn over. He doesn't need to show his opponent that card.
Yeah, Stirring Wildwood added to Matt's side of the board there.
Looks like Ray has some Teetering Peaks in hand. I'm not sure what else he has. I guess, oh, that's a Forked Bolt. Better late than never, but I don't know how good that's going to be.
So,
Steven Schwartz to the main event stage. Your draft is waiting for you.
So he Fork Bolts, starting the Bird and the Germ. And activates the Spike Shot Elder to deal 3 damage to Matt. Matt's germ, I mean. The other 3 damage to the germ. Just with the help from Teetering Peaks there. So, goes into combat with the Spike Shot Elder and the Kiln Fiend.
The Spike Shot Elder is going to be bashing
For 3, right?
3, and the Kiln Fiend for 4.
And Batterskull goes back to Matt's hand.
That's probably just going to drop this Batterskull on the table again. Seems really hard for the red deck to beat that.
Yeah, again, here's an example. He dealt with the germ, but not with the Batterskull. So he's going to be in a situation right now where he has to deal with the germ again.
And that's one of the real strengths of playing the version with green, is with the mana guys, your Batterskulls are these just unbelievable threats. You can constantly be returning them to your hand and replaying them as your opponent deals with the germ that it's sitting on. So,
yeah.
I mean, I think Matt's deck is definitely a better Batterskull deck than just about any other deck we've ever seen.
That's a good point, yeah. And, I mean, while he does lose Stoneforge Mystic and Jace, that boost it gets from those green mana creatures, that sticks around, so we may see a lot of Batterskulls in decks like this. So Ray adds an Ember Hauler to his side of the board and passes the turn with 3 mana open.
All right. So
Matt, I believe in his hand, has Island Bird's Lotus Cobra, I think.
Seems right. And Matt can just keep turning this thing.
Yeah, not even turning it sideways.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it doesn't turn sideways. Shoots.
Yeah,
2.
he blocks and
13.
uses Ember Hauler's ability to do 2 to Matt and deny him that life gain from the Batterskull. Matt looks like he's considering birds. Yep, Birds of Paradise comes into play.
I noticed Ray's picked up a ton of free cards this game with his Spike Shot Elder, and it just doesn't matter.
Right, it's that Batterskull is just back-breaking.
And it was the Stoneforge Mystic that got the Batterskull, because the Stoneforge Mystic got the Batterskull.
Yep.
And then he had to use a removal spell on, his Stagger Shock took out 2 guys. His Forked Bolt, with the help of his Elder, took out 2 guys. His Elder took out another additional guy along the way. Ray has really, really been doing well in the card war of this game. It's just that Matt drew a Stoneforge Mystic. And one Stoneforge Mystic winds back that entire clock.
Yeah.
And
that Batterskull.
That's a pretty telling sign that maybe the card should get banned.
Well, Batterskull has blanked so many of those cards. That's the thing. Like with a burn deck, that's what Batterskull does. Just blanks so many burn spells.
And obviously this is the match where it shines hardest.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And which is even more reason why I just wonder. I would love to hear the reason for a mono red deck to just not have any answer to Batterskull besides something like Dismember, which just really, again, answering the germ is not what I'm talking about. I know it can answer the germ, but can you answer the Batterskull, which is the important part?
All right, so Matt's Batterskull gets dismembered. Is this going to give Ray an opportunity to deal with this board? Spike Shot shoots down the 1 blocker. Kiln Fiend gets in for...
just 4, I think?
Yeah, I believe 4. Which would put Matt down to 10.
Yeah, I don't mean to imply that it's unwinnable, but it's really a difficult race, How much life has that Batterskull gained, and how much is it threatening to gain still? I mean, because it's still there.
I think it's interesting here. I'm surprised Matt didn't just bounce that Batter Skull into his hand, end step, and then take his turn nonchalantly.
Was it not still Ray's end step? Did he pass the turn? Because I didn't see Matt untap.
I think it is still Ray's end step.
Yeah.
He's trying to decide whether or not it's worth it.
Yeah. So Ray passes a turn. He does bounce his own Batter Skull back to hand, and again,
and here's another Baneslayer Angel.
How many cards is that Batter Skull drawing him? Just going tap 3, return it, bring it back down again. You know what I mean? Like all these other cards he's just drawing are still sitting in his hand. It looks like he's going with, yeah, I'll add a Lotus Cobra and a Batter Skull.
And
it's like he has drawn a Batter Skull every turn, you know?
Batter Skull's just so absurd. It's a colorless Baneslayer Angel, and if it dies, you can just pay 3 mana and then you draw another one.
Yeah. That's what I need. It's nuts.
Ray's going to deal with that Lotus Cobra, and then just pass the turn, no attacks. See, Matt's gonna attack with his germ, and Ray is going to be forced into a chump block here.
Yeah, which is gonna undo last turn's attack with the Kiln Fiend. Unless he has an answer here. So he cracks a Scalding Tarn.
I like that play from Ray. Ray blocks with Spike Shot Elder and pays 3 mana to kill his own Spike Shot Elder before his opponent gains the life.
Yeah, not bad, but apparently still decides to pack it in, I think.
You know, when you're playing a deck like Mono Red, a lot of the time you need to know when.
Yeah, when to pack it in. Yeah.
But there's also luxury to playing a deck like that because you can take your time a lot more than other players because your deck is much more likely to win in the early turns of the game.
That's true, yeah. What do you think about the, the choice these decks have, the mono red decks have to deal with equipment? They have Crush, they have Shatter, which is what Ray chose to use in his sideboard, and they have Manic Vandal. And I know there's, I think different players choose different things. Manic Vandal obviously is the 2-for-1. You have the dude to attack with. That seems like the best play to me, just because you want those guys to be there. So why would a player choose something like Shatter over Manic Vandal, in your opinion?
Well, Shatter's an instant, which is really important. People flash in Batter Skulls in your combat step, and Manic Vandal doesn't help against that.
Sure.
Whereas Shatter does. Manic Vandal also costs 3, and you can't really side in any 3-drops. You're probably not siding out your Stagger Shock.
Fair enough.
So I think you need to just,
Yeah, I see. I just, it makes sense. I just kind of am always curious, what the take on it is. Do you trade the ability to deal with a flashed-in Batter Skull for some extra damage later down the road when you have, an extra dude just to attack with? So
I also like Shatter over Crush in a lot of ways too, because it kills Spellskite, and Spellskite is very much a problem for the red deck.
That's true. This is a huge blocker. So anyway, for anybody who's just joining us, I'm Joey Pasco.
And I'm Jacob Van Lunen.
We're here in Baltimore, my hometown here. I'm rocking the Ravens shirt here. We're at the the Star City Games Open Series. We are in round 4. Is that right? Yeah, we're in round 4 of 10. 10 rounds today, 450-ish players. Yeah, it is a long tournament. We're watching Ray Tautic versus Matt Beverly. Ray playing a mono red list, Sullivan mono red, and Matt playing a version of kind of like a Bant Blade list. And Matt took game 1 on the back of the batter skull. No surprise there, really. And
that's how a lot of games go in this format.
Yeah, and so we're discussing the advantages here of Shatter over something like Manic Vandal, because Ray has chosen to sideboard 3 Shatter, and now he's boarding in 3 Shatters, 4 of the red shrines, and 4 Flame Slashes. So Flame Slash is obviously great to deal with the germs, you know, and other creatures, other problem creatures.
He's playing against a green deck with Fauna Shamans.
Right.
You always want Flame Slash there.
Yeah, so he's got that. The Shrine of Burning Rage. Now that was the shrine that people seem to think is the best. Now I can see why, especially in a mono red list. Any mono color list with its own shrine, it's going to shine there the best. But
it's the red shrine kills people.
Yeah, absolutely. The red shrine is worth so much.
Put some stuff into play.
Now, can you imagine, like in that last game? I think Matt was down to 10 life at one point. I mean, that a Shrine of Burning Rage that had been in play for a few turns may have been enough to kill him. Or at least,
yeah, I mean, I've seen Shrine of Burning Rage just get up to very high numbers of counters very quickly. And if your deck is set up with cards like Kiln Fiend to really abuse that properly, then you can just start killing people left and right.
Yeah. So what do we think Matt boards in here? Spellskite. Excuse me.
Spellskite's definitely coming in, and Celestial Purge and an extra Batter Skull.
Yeah. Seems pretty obvious, really. And
you may also bring in Nature's Claims.
Just for fear of something like the Shrine, you mean?
So, I mean, he knows his opponent has like the artifacts that he wants to deal with, and yes, he.
Okay, we're getting a report that he did not board in the shrines, but so he left those in the board, and he took out Stagger Shock and Ember Hauler to make room for those other cards he boarded in. He leads with a turn 1 Scalding Tarn into a Mountain into a Furnace Scamp, and Matt has the turn 1 Birds for the second game in a row.
And now Ray's probably going to play a removal spell on this Birds right away if he has one.
Offers to trade the Scamp for the Birds. Not really a good trade for Matt.
He chooses not to play Goblin Guide. This going to be interesting.
He must want to burn that Birds, I guess. Looks like he's going to bolt the Bird. No, Flame Slash the Bird. That's pretty good too. And he does not have a second land. Matt adds Lotus Cobra to the board.
Now that's not going to live for too long. Ray is going to get a Lightning Bolt off on loose. Or on Matt's Cobra.
So Ray Scalding Tarn in the Mountain, and does he offer to trade the Scamp for the Lotus Cobra first?
I'm sure he'd offer it.
Yeah. Taps 2 for a Searing Blaze.
That's going to drop Matt down to 16.
Yeah, and now 15, if not more. Looks like just 15. He declined to sack the Scamp. Passes back to Matt.
All right, so another Cobra comes down, a land, it's a fetch land, he cracks it. We expect a Fauna Shaman here. Does that sound right to you?
Yeah, I do see one in hand, and yep, gets a Forest. And Fauna Shaman.
All right. Ray drew another Searing Blaze. That's pretty good.
Does he have the land to capitalize on it, though? I don't believe he does, because I don't think he didn't have his second land drop on turn 2. He drew it on turn 3, and so if he just drew Searing Blaze, he does not have a third land. He does, however, have several other options here, I think. He's got at least a bolt. So he goes with a Goblin Guide. Swing with the Guide. Gives Matt an island off at the top of the deck.
Now, Ray again is in a super awkward spot where he must really feel like there's just something he has to do.
Yeah, so there's
Stop
a
this from chaining.
bolt for the Lotus Cobra, but he's going to give Matt the opportunity to start using that Fauna Shaman, and no, instead he adds a Jace to the board. Seems powerful.
He's probably going to pick that up. He's playing against red. Look at the top card of Ray's library. Hopefully you can set him up not drawing well.
Ray says, bounce my Furnace Scamp. Matt decides to brainstorm.
I like a brainstorm.
Yeah, definitely, because he can get value off of that Goblin Guide for sure. He's got plenty of lands in hand there. So. And Ray looks like he drew a Spike Shot Elder, I think.
Yes, that's Spike Shot Elder. He has an Ember Hauler, a Spike Shot Elder, and a Searing Blaze in hand.
Yeah. None of which are really that great right now. I mean, he wants to deal with that Fauna Shaman, but he really has no way of doing it. He can certainly, swing at Jace. He's gonna, have your Stirring Wildwood off the top there for Matt, off of the Goblin Guide. He's gonna deal with the Fauna Shaman with that Searing Blaze. Scamp dies.
Flex
Searing
Scamp
Blaze
with
for one on your Shaman, and then kill Jace. So that was actually a pretty good play for Ray. Couldn't get
in a really
full
good
value
spot.
out of the Searing Blaze, but for what he was doing, he traded a Scamp and a Searing Blaze for a Jace and a Fauna Shaman. That's a good trade. Also got in for 2 with Goblin Guide. And Batterskull for Matt.
All right, Matt's got to have another guide, right? Go to the Shatter. Oh, he set this game up.
There's the Shatter off the top.
All right.
Now that is the answer that you want for Batterskull. That's how you want to deal with it. Ray may have turned this game just having that Shatter available.
Yeah, it's really interesting. This is a match that, normally when Batterskull resolves, it's just over.
Yeah.
It just shows how good artifact removal is in these specific spots against these decks.
He had it at the perfect time because I don't think that was in his hand. I think he top decked it right after the Batterskull hit the board.
Matt goes ahead and casts a Fauna Shaman and a Vengevine. Now, Fauna Shaman combos very well with Vengevine in a deck like this. What you would normally do is play a Fauna Shaman on a very early stage of the game, and then just start discarding Vengevines to it and getting more Vengevines. And what eventually will end up happening is that you'll have all 4 of your Vengevines in your graveyard, and you haven't been using cards.
Yeah.
To have to go and,
It's a pretty sick combination between those. So Ray adds a second Goblin Guide and a Spike Shot Elder to his side of the board, but declines to attack into the Vengevine Fauna Shaman combo on Matt's side of the board. Matt passes back, and Ray now adds Ember Hauler to his side of the board.
Ooh, good draw step for Matt.
Matt, what did he see? Was that Stoneforge Mystic?
Yes.
So he plays a Stoneforge Mystic. Let's see, Batterskull is sitting on the top there. He looks like he's getting something else. Ah, Sword of War and Peace.
That makes much more sense.
It certainly does. Let me read this. Pro Red Scoop. I don't know. He's in trouble. Matt stabilized. Ray not able to take advantage of it, and Matt able to add Sword of War and Peace to the table. Equips it to Vengevine. Vengevine now a 6/5 Pro Red, Pro White. Ray can't block it.
Yeah, the
Matt
Pro
gains
White,
a
Pro
bunch of
Red
life.
on Sword of War and Peace is just so absurd. And Matt's going to gain a few life from the trigger there.
Yeah.
Ray probably takes a few damage from that trigger there. I'm not sure exactly how many cards are left in his hand. Now he has the Bolt, but it looks like it's way too late for something like that.
Yeah, what he needs is another Shatter at this point. I mean, I don't know how he can really get back into this without another Shatter. Especially with just 2 mana available. Like, he can't even, even with a handful of burn spells.
You can't unload on your opponent or anything like that.
Yeah.
So you really wish you had, like, Smash to Smithereens and things like that. So, is there a line of play? Huh, okay, so he's bolting the Fauna Shaman.
Yeah, Vengevine's just gonna kill him. I mean, he needs to use the cards in his hand just to not
can't
take
sandbag
damage.
at all.
Yeah, and he's got a Teetering Peaks, I saw, but I don't know that he almost seems to be hesitant to use it. I mean, he can get in with his guys here, but
There's not that much value to it.
right.
I
Then
guess,
again-
you could put your opponent in, like, burn range if you have one last spell.
Right. It's kind of at this point, Vengevine. He can't block the Vengevine anyway, and he can basically get in for at. I mean, let's see. He's got. Okay, so he adds Teetering Peaks. Looks like. What's he gonna pump? No value in pumping the Spike Shot Elder for its ability. Giving
Yeah,
it the
you
extra
have that.
power seems good though.
I mean, he's probably just going to pump the Spike Shot Elder, that way he can crack with everybody.
Right, and that way he guarantees killing the Stoneforge Mystic.
His opponent almost certainly trade. Does that.
Yeah, let's see.
Which is a trade that I like for Ray at this spot.
No, but he goes with the. Looks like the Teetering Peaks pumped the Ember Hauler.
Oh, that's not bad either, because then if his opponent decides to have a removal spell for the Ember Hauler, then he can always respond by nabbing one of his opponent's things.
Yeah, so doing some math here. By the way, a Fauna Shaman on the top of Matt's deck, so giving him no value off of those double Goblin Guide triggers. So we have, I mean, 9 damage in the red zone, but
Yeah. Now,
the
Stoneforge.
Stoneforge soaks up 4 of it.
Okay.
So
It's
Ray
4
gets in
damage.
for 5. 4, 5. Yeah.
The first thing Matt's going to do is attack with this sorted up Vengevine. It's one of the most powerful things you can really do in this format.
No reason to play a land and essentially give his opponent a free point of damage. Yeah, it does still say Pro Red on it, unfortunately.
Now, Sword of War and Peace is the card that, before New Phyrexia really saw play, I thought that card was going to be the most busted thing in the mirror because it's a mirror breaker.
Right.
Plus, there's Project Hawks to attack. I thought, like, Inkmoth Nexus would probably make, like, a showing.
Yeah.
If people would have 2 or 3 copies. And it's shown itself to be more of, like, an endgame trick. Like, in the beginning of the game, Batterskull is so powerful that
Yeah, well, you didn't know
you live and
Batterskull,
die
right?
by Batterskull.
So, Vengevine indeed crashes over, hits Ray for another 6 and potential, was it 7, I guess? I don't know how many cards were in Ray's hand there. Looks like maybe 1, or was that his draw step? Did he manage to empty his hand that turn? Didn't happen to
I think it was
notice
his draw step.
Okay, so he did empty his hand there. Matt goes back up to 9 from the sword ability, so Ray back to the math. I don't know what he drew. He decided not to show us there.
So, what he's looking at now is... Alright, so the most
Just
he can block
Alpha
is 2
Strike.
power.
Activates during Wildwood, so he's got 2 blockers to soak up some damage here. Goblin Guide number 1 gives an island. Goblin Guide number 2 shows a Vengevine on top of Matt's a library.
We're ordering some blockers here.
Yeah. Wildwood blocks Goblin Guide number 1. Shaman blocks Goblin Guide number 2. Take 4.
Yeah, now he's driving a 5 here, right?
Yeah.
And then, isn't his opponent just dead on board? Yeah.
Yeah. Forked Bolt, not good enough.
That's the thing is, he kind of just leaned on those batter skulls. And that's what Callblade can do in these types of matchups.
Well, in this case, it wasn't the batter skull, though. It was the sword, but, you know...
Oh, yeah, but I mean...
Still need an answer to the equipment, right? I mean,
But the batter skull was still incredibly strong in that game. The 4 life won in that game. He was...
well, did he gain any life? I thought the batter skull came down, it was immediately shattered. Wasn't it? Then he had Sword of War and Peace. He never got the second batter skull.
Oh, you're right. Okay.
Right. So he didn't gain any life off of batter skull, but it soaked up the shatter,
Yeah,
which
it soaked up
opened
the shatter,
up.
which opened up the way for
Yeah,
the
exactly.
sword.
So
that was a really interesting deck, the Bant deck. The mana creatures are really powerful with equipment, things like that. So that's something we might see more of once Stoneforge is gone. Because you no longer have this way to cheat it into play, and you kind of need to get a little more creative with how you're going to try to get that equipment into play and equip the guys. Cards like Grand Architect are very good at doing that.
Oh yeah.
He can, Soul Ring out your equipment, and then you can just tap him and put anything anywhere.
Right.
Pure Steel Paladin obviously does extraordinarily well. But if somebody wanted to build a deck that had some redundancy, they could use both cards.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've seen Argentum armor as a one-of in some of the Pure Steel Paladin lists. That's pretty disgusting when you can equip it for free.
Oh yeah. I mean, build your own Eldrazi.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's kind of like the new Eldrazi conscription, right? In a way.
It's hard though. People are going to have to do some work if they want to actually equip that thing. And if you have the Pure Steel Paladin in play anyway, you're probably winning.
Yeah, you don't necessarily need it. It's just one of those cards. It's like
it's so cool if you do it though.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's just like, what do you do against an Argentum armor? I mean, lose. Well, you have the shatter, you're good.
It's always the worst when your opponent turn 1 Argentum armors you or turn 2 Argentum armors you.
Yeah, that's one of the things that could accurately be described as the worst.
It's just not fun.
What was it? Flores said the worst was what? Splinter Twin on an Inferno Titan? That's pretty bad too. Really, really strong interactions in Standard right now. And
it's some of the most powerful cards that have ever been legal at the same time as each other. I'd say we have more powerful cards to play with in Standard right now than we have since Urza's.
Yeah, really. It's interesting too because whereas in Urza block, I think there was a lot more powerful effects happening on the stack. A lot of spells going on the stack.
I mean, Urza's block was all about degenerate power.
Right.
It wasn't about fair power.
Right. And then
they weren't casting 6/6s that were just the best 6/6s we've ever seen for 6 mana. People were just killing each other in turn 1.
Yeah.
There were lands that tapped for multiple mana.
Yeah, it's funny because...
It's a lesson they learned quickly. That's a no-no.
Tolarian Academy, Gaia's Cradle. I actually just traded a friend of mine for his 2 Gaia's Cradles that he's had since he is the guy I was sitting with. He's just getting back into the game. He's like, I want to play vampires. Here's the stuff I have for trade. And here's my old Standard deck. 2 Gaia's Cradles, crop rotation, stroke of genius. He was deranged hermit. It was like here's my standard deck. The last one I had Gaia's Cradles in it and stroke of genius, and it was funny because he's just like, deranged hermit. So equilibrium, bounce back the hermit, replay it, just get tons of guys. Gaia's Cradle, stroke of genius, or stroke of genius myself, draw a bunch of guys. It was that was his standard deck, and he's like, what do you want? So I got him all the vampires cards he needed, and
Equilibrium is really good.
It's interesting. I traded him for basically like.
It's one of those fun cards to play with.
Absolutely, and I was I've never played with it myself. Like I played him against him when he was playing it, and that was fun. But yeah, I was just like, here, I'll get you back into standard. You give me your old cards that I can use, and I think I'm going to build a elf combo because now I'm like, I want to use these guys' Cradles, and that's pretty much the only place to use them in Legacy. Oddly, I had 2 Gaia's Cradles that I traded for him for that deck, and then he stopped playing, so I've had them since then. I just always kept them. I was like, I don't really want to trade those. Maybe I'll use them one day. And now here he comes back, and I'm like, I'll just use them myself. So kind of a funny turn of events there. But Gaia's Cradle, Tolarian Academy, Sarah's Sanctum. What were the other ones? I can't even remember. Was there a red and black one? I can't even.
No,
there weren't.
No.
So hand those over to Jeremy. Okay. Oh, we got it. Runner can do it. Cool. Thanks, Ben.
It was the Sarah's Sanctum though. Still.
That was
absurd.
Yeah, I mean...
like in the Enchantress decks.
Right.
Sees play. And Academy is obviously just the most broken card.
Yeah. I still have an old standard deck built with that. Yeah. I love that. I mean, I had a standard deck at the time when Academy was legal, and I just kept it together. You know, I was just like, I don't really want to take this apart. So I'll just keep the whole deck together. So I still have it just
awesome.
Just to play with old standard decks. I don't know, like... I feel